Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Mimi. I'm happy, healthy, and prosperous because I live in positivity. So today I want to talk to you about cancer. If you are 40 plus, make sure you're going and getting your mammograms. If you have any family history of cancer, specifically breast cancer, make sure you're going to get your mammograms. In 2015, August 2015, I went in for my mammogram because I'm slightly over 40, and I had gone every year, and I went in, got my mammogram done. When I was there, they asked, "Hey, would you be interested in getting the 3D testing?" And I was like, and so she said, "Your insurance pays for it." So I said, "Sure." I got the 3D testing, and 2 days later, I received a letter in the mail. So apparently, they found something immediately. They sent me a letter in the mail, and it said that we need to retest you. So I called them. I came in probably the next day to get retested, and my thoughts was I should have not been messing around with that 3D testing. It was just a mess and blah blah blah. It wasn't a mess. So when I went back, they did more testing, and they had to do like the ultrasound of my breast and everything. And the doctor came in, and she was doing all of the ultrasound and everything. And then the nurse who was with me, she said, "We don't think it's cancer, because if it was cancer, she would have acknowledged that early on. But there is something going on. But let's just wait to see what the doctor says." So I was there for a very long time. If you've ever had a mammogram, you know that you're really there for a very short time. You go in there, you take your shirt off. If there's someone before you, obviously you wait your turn, but you're in there, in and out of the entire office, probably 15 minutes, but the mammogram itself, maybe 5 minutes. So anywho, I'm there for a very long time. And she said, she just kept checking. She said that there's something there, but we don't think it's cancer. But what I would like to do is have you go see a doctor regarding it. So I was at the radiologist. So I ended up having to go to a cancer doctor for a biopsy. And so, very funny, or not funny, the doctor said to me, "Well, it doesn't look like cancer, but we're gonna test it and let you know." So she pulled this huge needle. I mean, like unbelievably long, and I said, "That's gonna go through my breast." So I'm so silly, right? So I mean, it's just so long, and so she said, "You can't see it, really microscopic, but it has like a little pinch there, and it'll go in, it'll pull out some of the tissue." So we did that. And she called back a couple of days later and said it's inconclusive. I don't think you have cancer, but at this point it's still inconclusive. And we'd like for you to go and get oh gosh, what is it called? Or no, not lumpectomy. Maybe that's what it was. I forgot what it's called. Anyhow, ended up having to go to the doctor or go to the hospital for yet another procedure, because this one they actually had to cut and go in there and see. So a couple of days after that, my doctor called me, because apparently nowadays they will do this kind of thing over the phone. And she called me and she said, "I'm so sorry." She said, "But it is cancer." And so I said, "Okay, thank you." And she said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yes." And so, immediately it didn't hit me. And so I hung up the phone, and I was actually working from home. So I ended up taking a break. I ended up taking my lunch because I wanted to process. And so I called my husband, and I said, "Doctor, call me back, and I have cancer." And so I guess talking to him was comfort, because immediately the tears started flooding and I couldn't stop them. Because all I could think about was my husband's going to be without his wife. My children are going to be without their mother. My mother's going to be without her daughter. My sister and my brother are going to be without their big sis. so I couldn't stop the tears. And so my husband, very strong man, and he said, well, you're going to be fine. We're going to beat this. We can get through it. But then I heard his voice crack. So I had to get off the phone because then I would never stop crying. So I got off the phone and I called my sister. And she works at a doctor's office, so she was not available to answer the call. And I texted her. I said, I need you to call me. She called me, and I missed the call because I work from home. I always keep my phone on silent. So I missed the call, and I tried to call her back, and she's like, I can't talk. And so I said, you have to call me back. So she called me back, and I told her that I had cancer. She was like, listen, you have beaten. So my story is, I got into an accident. I've been in multiple accidents, but one accident where I was a passenger, it was the car hit on my side, and here I have this wound from where the seat belt cut into my neck, and then I was thrown out of the car and run over by a van. So my sister was like, yeah, you have had hard times. I mean, this is something that we can get through, we can beat. So I had to pull it together because now it was time for me to go back to work. And so I did just that. And I worked as if nothing had happened because a couple of reasons. One, I'm a professional. And secondly, working helped keep my mind off of what was going on. Long story short, I ended up having to, when I talked to cancer oncologists about the results, they wanted to immediately have me have surgery because the cancer that I had was aggressive and it had already started to move from the breast to the lymph nodes under the arm. So I ended up having a double mastectomy, and for me, initially, it wasn't a big deal. But when it was, first of all, it was horrid. I mean, like I was wrapped and whatever. So it was rough. But from an emotional standpoint, I actually did really, really well. I thought, although I love so I had D cups. And I used to think, oh gosh, I wish they weren't so big. But at that time, I realized, how important it was to just appreciate who you are and what you have, because you never know when things will change. So it wasn't very emotional for me. It was what it was. I just knew that I had to stay positive, stay focused so I could move on to the next step. So treatment was, because the cancer was so aggressive, they had to be really aggressive with my treatment. So chemo started in December. I was diagnosed in August, or no, I was diagnosed in September, and I had the surgery in October, and we had to wait for healing and everything, and chemotherapy started in December. And immediately I lost my hair. I remember my husband and I were going to go out because my hair was really long. It's grown a lot, but it was really long. And the doctors told me, you're going to lose your hair, so you may want to prep. And so what I did was I cut my hair probably to here. So I had like a little baby afro. And one night my husband and I were going to go out. And so I said, well, let me comb my hair because I was laying down. It was kind of flat. So when I went to comb it, I literally combed and the whole patch came out. And I just kept combing. I wasn't super emotional about losing my hair either because my hair grows super fast and I am not my hair. So anyhow, I came out of the bathroom and I was just like, yeah, I don't think I want to go because it came out, but it came out patchy. So I had like little pieces and patches of hair all throughout. And so, chemotherapy, the first treatment was okay. But as I continued the treatments, they started to be wear on my body. And so there were nights where the pain was excruciating. I couldn't explain the pain. I knew like I needed to get from my bed to the floor because I felt like just getting low and cool would make things better. It didn't. But it was really difficult. During the tenure of my treatment, I ended up having to stay in the house. So remember I said that I was in an automobile accident. In that accident, my spleen was crushed, so I ultimately had to have it removed. And because I have no spleen, they were really concerned about my white blood count, and it was low, and you're susceptible to disease and so forth and so on. So I was so the options were, because my counts were so low, to be hospitalized or, being home, but I had to be super careful. So I was confined to the house, and for a portion of my treatment, I was confined to the bedroom. So I didn't get to see my kids. I mean, it was really, really hard. But I did not lose sight of where we're going, what we're doing, and I stayed focused, and I managed to be emotionally stronger than I would have ever guessed. So after treatment, I ended up having to have flaps put in, which are like these, or not flaps, I'm sorry, expanders put in. There's these little flat things that every 2 weeks I would have to go in. They would put fluid in it so what it would do is stretch the skin to prepare me for reconstruction. And reconstructive surgery was flap surgery. So they pull fat from other places, and I had plenty, and they put it here. So they're not real breasts, but they're my breasts. It's fat deposits. So yeah, that was what it looked like for me. And after everything, I was okay. I mean, I was, I was weak because I hadn't done anything for this whole tenure. But I was okay. And, over time, though, my body seems to be getting weaker, and I seem to be in more pain. And we've done multiple tests to make sure that the cancer hasn't returned, and all of those things. But I think a big part of it is not moving, and I haven't moved because I'm in pain. In the beginning, I wasn't moving because I was just sick and going through with the chemo and everything. But now I think what happened was, for a better quality of life, I used to live in North Carolina, now I live in Nevada. North Carolina is very humid, and my body was not responding very well. I would have like itching attacks and just all these crazy things when I go out. So we just moved to an area that was dry. I got here, everything was fine, but from an emotional standpoint, it was difficult. I didn't have the support from like my friends who were there with me throughout the entire process. My sister, my children, my older children, my 19-year-old, who happened to be 18 at the time, he stayed in North Carolina, and my 19-year-old also stayed in North Carolina. So all my children, not all my children, because my now 13-year-old is here with me, but my boys are back in North Carolina. So emotionally, it was difficult, and still a bit difficult. And I think that, and then I ended up quitting my job because I was working for a major airline in North Carolina. And when I moved here, I basically transferred. The job itself didn't transfer because I used to do home-based reservations, but they gave me a different position here, which was administrative support. I love the job, but I ended up quitting because there was some racial issues going on with this company, and unfortunately, not my supervisor, but the person over my supervisor was one of those people who was participating in treating people indifferently because of the color of their skin. And when my manager moved to a different position, this individual ended up being over me, and I deal with race things. It's not a big deal, but it ultimately began to affect my ability to work because this manager would not speak to me, would not give me direction, would offer direction through the staff that I was responsible for scheduling. So all of those things. And for me, it was easier to just walk away. I loved my job, but for sanity and emotional health, I just had to walk away. And so I did. And since leaving my job, I had no friends here, not really, no fam. My husband and my daughter here, because my mom did come here, but then she went back. So I didn't have anybody, and so I think over time it started to wear on me and maybe pull me into a bit of depression, which I never really acknowledged until I went to the doctor, and she said, "Do you think you're depressed?" Because I was telling her symptoms, and she said, "Do you think you're depressed?" And I thought, I'm not going to accept that. So I tried to make changes, but all those things said, I know I'm kind of babbling a little bit. From March to now, which 7 months, I have gained 35 pounds. And I'm absolutely sure it is a result of probably undiagnosed and even unrealized depression. But I don't know if this is post chemo, but my entire body is in pain all the time. Now, I just got a part-time job, and I'm not even certain that I'm going to be able to keep it because my pain level outweighs my ability to what I'm able to handle. So I have a high tolerance to pain, but I'm just in pain so much. And we've tried so many different medications that I'm at a place now where I'm like, okay, quality of life is being affected. And so my doctor is trying to figure out what that is. What do we do? How do we correct that? So anyhow, this was supposed to be a reasonably short to medium-sized video, but I know I've been talking for a while. But ultimately, I just wanted to let you know that not everybody has the same experiences with cancer. You just have to be determined not to let it take you to a dark place. And it's very easy because sometimes you feel alone. No one else experiences what you experience. And so when I'm telling people I'm in pain, it's hard for you to understand what that looks like. Because when I say I'm in pain, well, if you've never experienced the pain that I'm feeling, then you're like, oh yeah, I know pain. And I can't explain the pain. Like, it's bone pain. It's like my bones hurt. My entire body hurts. My feet hurt. So when I get out of bed every morning, to have my feet touch the floor, first of all, I'm grateful. I thank God that I'm able to get up every morning. But when I get up, my feet hurt. My body, and it, I walk and feel sometimes like a 70, 80-year-old woman because I'm walking really slow and my body's in pain. But I'm not giving up. I am still very thankful and grateful. But I just want to again say that cancer looks different for everyone. And whatever your situation is, or whomever you know that may be experiencing that, love them, encourage them, and just pray for them. Because to say I understand when you don't doesn't help. Just encourage them and listen. So guys, this was a really long video, and I don't know if I got the message across, but my ultimate message is the struggle is real. Like, it is not a joke. And so I want to send you love and blessings, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. Please keep up with me. If you have any questions, any concerns, or anything you'd like to talk about, let me know. Oh, I do want to come back with another video because I want to talk about some of the impact that this has had on my family structure, specifically the relationship between my husband and I. But I thank you guys for watching me, and I ask that you continue to watch, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and click the bell so you can find out about new videos. Have a great day.